All right, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, let the record. Just because you did that, we ain't going to John 5:39. Got him.
I said that so you wouldn't go.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Got him.
Yeah, I bet you did. You didn't get me. Jose 12 and 10. How about that? Give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah by HaMasyiach, our King and Savior. Around here thinking you know where I'm going.
I knew you were going there.
You ain't know nothing.
I did.
You ain't know
You said
nothing.
you weren't going there, I was like, watch you go to Jose.
Yeah, we used to go there. We used to go there though. Y'all like this here. I don't like this here. Y'all ain't finna be side me. I got a trick for y'all. I got a trick for y'all. I got a trick for y'all. 12 and 10. Then you go read John 5:39. Oh, extra smart nigga.
Oh, we ain't gonna slip past it.
It say, hey, I have also spoken by the prophets, and have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophet. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that the love of Elohim is not in you.
Don't say that.
You know what I'm saying? I know it. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 1. That's what it boiled down to with a lot of these people, man. The love of Yah ain't in them. What you gonna do about it? You just better make sure it's in you. My apologies. Is that Galatians 5 and 1? Galatians 5 and 1. See, now we're gonna go all the way and we're gonna sit back and we're gonna see where this man get it from. See, you already see that. You see this right here? That mean I have been waiting on that, didn't I? I have been waiting on that. Y'all see that right there? I put that on the camera so they see it too. See, we have been waiting on that right there. We have been waiting. You see that right there? We have been waiting. Holding that in the clip. That's what we do sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Get your big old gun, get your fat clip. You know what I'm saying? Load up a lot of bullets in it. Then you try to do like my homeboy did when he had the 50 cal, get the extended clip for no reason whatsoever. Because all you need is the 8 slugs that come in the clip to kill somebody. But I want to make sure you're dead.
And put the beam on the top.
Beam? Need no beam? Put a silence on the top. Walk up and shoot you in broad daylight. Don't nobody even know.
You ain't got no silence?
Yeah. Oh, that's serious. That's what you do. You put a potato on.
Oh, South Central watching niggas? That's what you got it, bro.
Come on,
Yeah, that is old school.
You got it from South Central.
No, I didn't.
I got it from real killers. He like this here. What you is? I'm Deuce, cuz.
Deuce here.
Stand fast, therefore, in the freedom or the sovereignty, because we gonna not use that word anymore. Matter of fact, hold on. You remember what I told y'all about who that word come from? Liber. The Roman god of getting freaky. Ain't them people nasty? They nasty. So stand therefore, fast therefore in the sovereignty wherefore HaMasyiach has made us free, and be not entangled therein, entangled again with the yoke of bondage. So now we need to see what this means. Don't we need to see what it means? So he says stand fast in your freedom, right? I want to go to number 14 real fast. Matter of fact, before we even read number 14, Exodus chapter 12, let's just see what the law say. Let's see where Paul get it from. It's a meat in there. Let's go on and get it then. Matter of fact, before we even look at that right there, come over here to Hebrew 5 and 12. Before we even look at that right there. See, this is what happened. This is what he done turned mess around and did with this here. 5 and 12. Hebrews. He say, for when the time ye ought to be teachers, have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Elohim, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. What are the first principles of the oracles of Yah? What's the first principle?
First principle, that's the first law.
Hello? You know what the first principle is? Do what I tell you to do. Keep my commandments. That's the first principle. You know how we know what that first principle is? Let there be light, and there was light, and he saw it, and it was good. That's the first principle. Do what I tell you to do. The first principle. I set the stars right here. They don't move. They all obey me. Y'all should know from Isaiah 28 and 9. You know what he said in Isaiah 28 and 9? Hebrews law to quote one part of it. Precept upon precept, line upon line. But he say, who shall he teach doctrine? Him that's drawn from the milk, weaned from the breast. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go look at it. Isaiah 28. Let's go look at it. (28:9). He says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. See, with the questions that's being asked, you know what that's showing? He ain't drawn from the breast. He ain't weaned off that milk. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Lil Muffin was weaning Leah off of it. I don't remember when Lizzie came off it. Just looked up one day, she ain't do it no more. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes them kids don't want to come up off that breast. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want to come up off that breast. He said, I like real food already. Ain't that right, man? What's up? Yeah, good. But you got to sit back and look at that. Come on back to Hebrew 5 before we go look at Exodus chapter 12. He say, stand fast in the liberty that with the freedom that you've been given of HaMasyiach. Don't be entangled. Don't be entangled with the yoke of bondage. So we have to sit back and look at what that means to be entangled with bondage then. And if you're going to stand fast in your liberty of HaMasyiach, that means we have to go in the law and see what it means and where this man is getting it from. You know what I'm saying? Now he says here in verse 13, for everyone that use milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belong to them that are of full age, even of those who by reason of use of their senses exercise to discern both good and evil. Y'all should know from your time dealing with Israelites that most of them are not of full age and can't discern good and evil. You know what I'm saying? Most Israelites can't discern. You ain't got no business bobbing for apples and candy licking. You ain't got, I'm talking about you got dudes that say ain't nothing wrong with you blowing on your wife booty. They can't discern why it's evil for you to have 5 wives. They can't discern it. Then they can't even discern why there's nowhere in the world you should have 4 wives and all of them work and you don't. Because I know y'all done seen that. Well, these dudes got 2, 3, 4 wives or even just one. And the wife take care of them. And they say they putting in work on Facebook. Am I lying? Am I lying? I done seen it too. Come on here to Exodus chapter 12. Let's see about standing fast in that liberty. After we look at Exodus 12, we'll look at Exodus chapter 20. We go on ahead. I ain't even have it in my mind to even deal with none of this. I had something. Hey, listen. You ain't hit your head no more today, did it? Because I seen you when it did, and I felt sorry for you. And you laughing at her. She done hit her head, and she done put her hand like this here where she hit her head at. He go to dying laughing at her. After she done tapered down a little bit, and I handed it to her, she like, get away from me. Going to my mama. Around here laughing at me. Exodus chapter 12 and about verse 7. Make it 6. And it says, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Well, make it 5. Your lamb should be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the he-goats. Now we know HaMasyiach was that lamb, right? So we knowing this going to be beginning the point of standing fast in that liberty. Or in that freedom, my apologies. Y'all ready? And they shall take the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. Now we done dealt with this before. You see where they say to put the blood at? Where they say to put the blood at? So what they think about it is if it's the doorpost. The stake. The stake. You know what I'm saying? And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. You heard they said that they'll eat it roast with fire. What did it say HaMasyiach was doing when he was praying? What did it say he was doing?
Sweat with blood.
It's not with blood. It says sweat looked like drops of blood. What usually happens when you roast a meat? Don't a little sweat a little bit? You know what I'm saying? Just sweating in them. Dropping everywhere. So you could see that he was already getting roast with fire when they were getting ready to eat him. He already said his soul was exceedingly sorrowful unto death, so there go his bitter herbs. It's all right, my man. He say, eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs and the pertness thereof. And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remain of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. And thus you shall eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You shall eat it in haste. It is Yahuwah's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Mizraim this night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, both man and beast, and against all the powers of Mizraim. I will execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Mizraim. 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and 7. Hold Exodus chapter 12. He say the blood will be a token for you. So the blood is a token for your sovereignty, your freedom, right? This is what's going to get you up out of here. Because what's the first thing he came to Moses, had Moses go tell Pharaoh? Do what? Let my people go. So he was sitting back asking them for sovereignty. Five and 7. Hello? 5 and 6, actually. Hello? Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven, leaving the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even HaMasyiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So he just sitting back looking at the blood of HaMasyiach is the token for you. As we know what the apostle Kephas told us, right? He said, you were not redeemed from corruptible things, from the former behavior of your fathers, but the precious blood of HaMasyiach as a lamb without spot or blemish, right? Well, we sit back and see that our ancestors who came up out of Mizraim were not redeemed with silver and gold or corruptible things, but with the blood of a lamb that was without spot or blemish, to give them their sovereignty, to give them their freedom. So when we coming up out of this here, you're going to see in the wilderness how Yah is telling us to stand fast upon that freedom. You know how many times he told us, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which redeemed you out of the house of bondage. So he's telling you to stand on him with that freedom that you get. Don't be entangled back. And we're going to look and read where he told you, don't go back to Mizraim. Don't be entangled with that no more. Don't even go back that way. You know what I'm saying? This is where this man getting it from. But you know what's wrong with people? 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 16. Make it 15. Matter of fact, make it 14. 2 Peter 3 and 14. But Josh, what's up? Wherefore, beloved, seeing that you look for such things, be diligent. That means you need to be about your business, that you may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. Don't you realize, that when that blood was a token upon the people's household, that they would be without spot and blameless? Because all those who didn't have that blood upon their household, they had a spot and they had blame because they hadn't took heed to the commandment of Yahuwah. What they not really sitting back, brothers don't sit back and realize is, when you look at Passover and what that is, that was a token of faith. See, you got to understand something. Most of these people were circumcised in the penis. I ain't talking about this in the heart. You got to remember, they already had that down. Joseph came down. They had this custom. They knew about to do it, right? Do you read about any of them being circumcised in the wilderness? They already knew to do this. You know what I'm saying? They had already been given this. They already knew this. The thing, that's why you got Moses coming back telling them, don't be therefore circumcised the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all got, women included, y'all got anteaters. That's what you call an uncircumcised male. Say he got an anteater. You know what I'm talking about? Turtleneck. Some of y'all got that on your heart. You got a sheep.
He's a dog.
You know what I'm saying? You got to get that stuff off your heart, out your mind. Get that covering, that flap off your mind. What?
Nothing. The way you put that
Flat.
together. Yeah, it's like, dang, boy.
That's what it is. A flap.
It blocks the light.
That's exactly what it do. Cover the hole up. Oh, y'all think while you're laughing,
No.
we gonna look at Luke chapter 11.
I know, I'm laughing because the way Troy.
He talking about it block the light. I'm gonna show you that there. Say if the eye be single, how the eye gonna be single? It got a covering over it. I can't be single. He did like this here. Which way do we go? That's it. Can't see nothing. And it's worse to clean too.
It's very unhealthy.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta flip that thing back like so you don't do all that. Boy, that thing getting infected. Scrubbing. I'm telling you, boy.
You gotta find them first before you do anything.
I know, boy, because I knew a girl, her son was uncircumcised, and she wanted to show me for some reason. I was like, I'm good. I don't want to see what it
You're
looked like.
dirty.
You know what I'm saying? Not just show me, she was like, my son uncircumcised, you want to see what it looked like. Because I'm like, boy, I will pay to get this boy circumcised. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, she was like, you ain't got to do it, I'm going to do it with my tax money. Cuz still got an anteater to this day. She ain't caring nothing about that, getting that boy clipped up. You know what I'm saying? Scorning him for lying. Verse 15.
Terrifying.
An account that the long suffering of HaMasyiach is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, have written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. Ooh. Well, this is why people wrestle with what the man wrote, because he just sat back and said, you're unlearned. So hold this here. Come on back to Isaiah chapter 29. He say, and they unstable. He said they wrestle with the other scriptures. He say, boy, that's till they deaf, though. Don't let it be till you're deaf, though. Just chilling. 29 and 10. 29 and 9. Stay yourselves and wonder and cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. So you know what that means? If you staggering.
Can't see.
Not just that you can't see. Listen what he said now. He say they staggering, but not with wine. When you staggering, what that mean? You're wobbling. And if you're wobbling, what that mean? You unstable. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who drunk when they walk, they unstable, right? Because when you stable, you can walk upright, your equilibrium good. He just said those that are unlearned and unstable rest with the other scripture to their own destruction. He just sat back and said these people stagger, but not with wine or strong drink. That mean they unstable. Some of y'all been drunk before. You know you wasn't stable when you were walking them down that sidewalk.
I wasn't walking. I was on the ground.
So you know you was unstable. You fell on your face. Everybody look.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, I know sometimes. No, you fell on your face. How many of y'all was stone cold just fall right on your face? Sit back and look at it. Sit back and look at it. What do the police do when they pull you over and say, let's do a DUI check?
Get you to walk straight.
See if you're unstable.
Or they get the pin and put it in front
To
of
see if you're unstable.
Do this here.
Because when you drunk, what happens? Your equilibrium go off, you're unstable.
Motor skills get.
You can sober up. Don't sober up.
Yeah, when you go to think about Nasty Nate and the Squirrel Master. No, Nasty Nate. Forbidden jungle of love. That's all you like to say, Xing out his groins. Woo, that movie, that was hilarious, boy. Good grief. You know what I'm saying? Woo, and they can't even watch it without the cussing. That's why they didn't even usually try to watch it clean. Because that movie was hilarious.
Oh, that's straight. You come on Spice a couple times.
No, Nasty Nate. He say, man, if somebody wants my fruit cup. He say, man, I'm somebody's woman.
What movie is that from? How big?
He said, I'm somebody's woman. I said, what is man?
We're gonna get you out.
Hey, you know, I seen the memes. The cop had to go walking straight lines.
Yeah.
He was like wobbling. He was like, I swear it was leg day.
Yeah, I've seen that one now. It was leg day. I ain't drunk.
Leg day, I swear.
Verse 10 though, listen what he say. Listen what he say. For Yahuwah have poured upon you the ruach of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes, and the prophets and the rulers and the seers have he covered. And the vision of all is become unto them as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray. Then he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered unto him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. So since they not learned and they unstable, they gonna wrestle with it to their own destruction. That's something to think about right there, ain't it? That's why a lot of stuff be out here sour deal. Come on back to Exodus chapter 12. I didn't have to do that there. Matter of fact, let me get that Luke chapter 11 since we talked about that cover.
Mashiach died and resurrected. It's like technically him opening up the seals off the book.
You better know. We dealt with that with Daniel when he say seal the book is for a time in the future. You know what I'm saying? When knowledge will increase. And when the HaMasyiach came, knowledge increased because he remember what he told you? He say, Baruch are your ears, for you have heard things that men have desired to hear and have not heard. And you have seen things that men desire to see and have not seen. Many righteous men and prophets have desired to hear what you hear and see what you see. See, he came back and he unsealed the book that he told Daniel to seal. See, we looked at that long. He unsealed that book. When he stood and told them, "O fools, slow of heart to believe all the things the prophet has spoken, have not a HaMasyiach so suffer to enter into his esteem?" And beginning at Mashiach, he opened up from the law to the prophets, to the law to the prophets, all the things pertaining to himself. You know what I'm saying? He unsealed the book. Remember, he told you that in Revelation chapter 7. He said, boy, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed to loose the seals of the book. Nobody else could do it. Nobody else could do it. That's why he say it's sealed. I can't. Because he say take it to somebody who learned. That means they know the law. That's why you sit back and you can look at that and you can apply that to Shaul. He knew the law, but it was sealed to him. Till the HaMasyiach say, made him blind. We dealt with that a while ago. Open my eyes that I might behold wondrous things out of thy law. He did that for Paul. Because he say that you might see that just one. And that you might know his will and hear the sound of his voice. You know what I'm talking about? These brothers sit back and they say they believe in this man, but they don't hear his voice. Because you would hear his voice from Bereshit all the way to Malachi, wouldn't you? From Genesis to Malachi, you would hear him, wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? So if you don't hear him, you're not of my sheep, as I had told you, because my sheep hear my voice. Even when you turn around and look at Adam, when he went to calling for him, he hid, but he said, I'm over here. I hear you. It ain't like he didn't hear him. He answered, didn't he? He said, what you been? I was scared. I heard you though. My sheep hear my voice. You know what I'm talking about? You sit back and look at Noah, go build this ark. My sheep hear my voice. He say, Abraham, get out from amongst your kindred. My sheep hear my voice. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody who know y'all's word, he gonna be. Why would the man talk to people who don't know? You know what I'm saying? Most people don't want to know. What it is? That's Luke chapter 11. I won't. Make sure. Luke, yeah, there it is. Luke 11:33. Thank y'all for the word. Try to be, we got to move brisk with it. Brisk, not the iced tea. Yeah, I know you like brisk iced tea. You look like old brisk lemon iced tea drinking individual.
No, not so much.
Around here had diabetes.
Diabetes.
Diabetes and a mullet. He say, no man, when he have lighted a candle, put it in a secret place, neither under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that they which come may see the light. Get that whole flap up off that thing, boy, so you can see. Can't see with that thing on there. He say the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, thy whole body is also full of light. But when thy eye is evil, thy body is full of darkness. Take heed therefore that the light which is in thee be not darkness. If thy whole body therefore be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light, as when the bright shining of a candle doth give thee light. The same way the apostle Yachanan say, this is the message which we have received, that Elohim is light and no part darkness. Anyone who have fellowship with him and partake in darkness, the truth is not in them. You know what I'm saying? He say, but if we confess our sins, then he is faithful to fellowship with us and cleanse us from all our sins, that we might be partakers of his righteousness. You know what I'm talking about? So whatever darkness you see, light and darkness can't exist in the same place at the same time. Oh Lord. No, he asking me about being interested in doing a crisis page. I don't know if I can deal with people crises every day. Some people crazy. You know what I'm saying? People out here talking about I'm gonna kill myself. I'll be like, shoot, don't pull the trigger.
Boy, I would.
Yeah, I know you did your brother like that. Told his brother posted a picture about he finna jump. He get on there and comment, go ahead and jump.
Do it then.
Nah, come on, bro. If you gonna do it, you gonna do it. Everybody be posting on Facebook. Man, nah, man.
You want somebody to tell you.
Yeah.
You want
Stop.
attention.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Cause this is like the second, third time doing this jump. You know, I mean, first time I called, you know what I'm saying? Try to calm it down.
Yeah,
Second,
come on
third
back,
time,
Exodus
man,
12.
Go on do it, man.
Sounds like you need some more.
Go on do it.
Hey, boy, you know what? You know what though? Corey's a heck of a salesman. Cause if there's a problem, Moringa gonna fix it. Moringa. Back to Exodus chapter 12.
Suicide.
Some sweaty pits to suicide. They said you need a clarity. You need a jump start in your genitalia. Moringa will fix it. I can see him on the commercial right now. Penis don't work. Moringa will fix it.
Moringa.
You're a little tired. Moringa. Niggas say your bowels don't move. How about some Moringa?
Suicide.
I'm talking about seeing with the whole like cowboy suit on, like you be seeing them old car salesmen do, just doing crazy stuff.
I have a three-piece finish suit.
You already finna say, he was finna say he have a zoot suit on. It's not 1920s cars.
Come on, man.
He said a zoot suit. You know what a zoot suit is?
No, the one with the big hat.
Yeah, what Malcolm had on in the movie, that's a zoot suit.
Yeah, that's
Like the
what
man had one of them long flaps in the back.
Yeah.
Well, I already told him that.
Hey, why you playing though? That's a good look in a commercial.
Man, I'd be dying laughing.
Like
But
shiesty.
hey, I'm gonna tell you something, man. That's the second one, bro. Boy, I love you, boy. But boy, you ain't going nowhere in public with me with no zoot suit on or them pork chops. I don't care nothing about the fro. You ain't going nowhere with me with them pork chops. Not with them pork chops.
That nigga
Like
always
you say.
Boy, them pork chops wasn't cool in the 70s when they came out. They ain't cool now.
You know what I'm saying?
And boy, I said we can push this.
I thought it'd be
That's
fine.
a good commercial idea right there.
Well, all right, man, we leave that alone. This ain't the time and place for that right now. We'll do that when we're done.
Let's move
We don't
this.
want-
Is that working? Ring. Suicide problems? Ring.
Like he gonna be popping up like Keenan Ivory Wayans and don't be a menace. Moringa, Moringa. Then jump out. Where did he come from?
That could be his brand.
Moringa. They like to say they're gonna brand. They're gonna be bashing them like you do at at Chuck E. Cheese. Say get him on out of here. All right, come on. Verse 12, chapter 12, verse 27. Exodus 12 and 27. So we got to sit back and see where we got this sovereignty, where this freedom out. How did it come? Because it said to stand fast in the freedom that you got from HaMasyiach. He says that ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Yasharal and Mishraim, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshiped. The children of Yasharal went away and did as Yahuwah had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass that at midnight Yahuwah smote all the firstborn in the land of Mishraim, for the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all of Mishraim, and there was a great cry in Mishraim, for there was not one house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from amongst my people, both you and the children of Yasharal, go and serve Yahuwah as ye have said. Now you can sit back and look at it. When HaMasyiach become your Passover, now you supposed to go serve Yah through him as the man told you to do. Didn't he say, he that honor me, my Father will honor? So go and serve Yah as ye have said. Everybody's not going to come behind them. This is when they begin to get their liberty, get their freedom, get their sovereignty to be released. Now let's look at something in Deuteronomy 7 and about 6, I should say. 5 coming to mind. Seven and 9, 7 and 5, or 7 and 6. For thou art a Kadash people unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. Yahuwah thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahuwah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, have Yahuwah brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Mizraim. Now let's look at something. He say, because Yahuwah loved you, and he made an oath to your fathers, right? Luke 1:68. After we look at Luke 1:68, we'll swing right back around and look at Hebrews 2:12. I mean, this is very, very easy. Because if we're going to look at Pharaoh in this instance, we can look at Pharaoh's Hashatan. You know what I'm saying? Because Hashatan had us in bondage. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say, do not be entangled back with that yoke of bondage. Then we're going to have to go back in the law where it talk about us being in bondage, right? So before we even look at Hebrews 2, we'll go look at a couple things in Exodus chapter 1. Luke 1:68. Baruch be Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Did he not visit and redeem his people in what we were looking at in Exodus? And have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his Kadosh prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies in the hand of all that hate us. When we were in Egypt, when we were in Mizraim, were they not our enemies? Hold this here. Come on back to Exodus chapter 1. Let's just see what these people said about why they hated us. Let's just see what they said. After that, you can look at Revelation chapter 12. Get Revelation 12 and probably about verse 15.
Really?
Hey, party. 1:7. Exodus 1:7. And the children of Yasharal were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Mizraim, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of children of Yasharal are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass, when there fall out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. So get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Yasharal. And the people of Mizraim made the children of Yasharal to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and in brick and all manner of service in the field. And all their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor, hard bondage from those who hated you. Come on back to Luke chapter 1. So they hated us for no other reason because of who we were. Because we didn't know y'all yet, right? We're in verse 72. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his Kadesh covenant. Ain't that what you just read in Deuteronomy 7? To perform the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, and kadeshness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. When did he promise Abraham that we would be delivered from the hand of our enemy? Who knows when he promised Abraham that?
In the fourth generation.
Let's go look at it. 15th chapter of the book of Genesis. Because we got to verify it. Because we had somebody say, Mr. Preacher Man, Mr. Teacher, explain. Is that not what he said? Well, let's explain it then. Let's explain it then. I don't see no problem with explaining. Who see a problem with it? He asked. Let's give him what they asked for. Genesis 15 and 13. Y'all can thank T for that. If T wouldn't have walked around here, I was going to deal with something else. He walked around here and showed me that. Y'all say thank you, T.
Who that, T?
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance, and thou shalt go unto thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. So he promised to bring us out. So he got to keep his word. So when you turn around and you see he promised to bring us out, us coming up out of Mizraim, because he said that be there for 400 years, right? We know Exodus 12 say we were in Mizraim for what? 430 years. So he made that promise, and that promise was actually standing fast to what HaMasyiach was going to come do, which was deliver us from the enemy, from our enemies in the hand of all them that hate us. Let's look at Revelation 12 and 15. Let's see what's going to deliver you from the hand of him that hates you before we look in Hebrews 2 and about 12. We might drop to 14 though and get straight on to it. Make it 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Well, when we turn around, he said in Exodus 4 and 22, Yasharal is my firstborn, right? And to let him go, right? And what did the Egyptians do? What did the people of Mizraim end up doing? They ended up persecuting us even more, didn't they? He's saying, to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and a times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. Well, we ended up being brought what? Into the wilderness, right? From the face of this serpent, or from the face of Pharaoh. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Just like he helped us to flood and drown out Pharaoh and his army then, right? But why did Pharaoh and his army want to come after us? Verse 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMasyiach. So you see the serpent going after those who he couldn't get. Those that were left, said, let me go to war with them. Now, when you turn around and you look at Pharaoh, obviously he didn't get a chance to go to war with nobody. He tried, didn't he? He ended up losing. Why? Because he wanted you to afflict you with this hard bondage and all these things. And we also going to look at what he's talking about standing fast and not being entangled again with that yoke of bondage. Because what did some of our forefathers want to do in the wilderness?
Go back.
Go back. You know what I'm saying?
Punks.
And when you turn around and it ain't just gonna be it would being with punks. It's just dealing with unbelief. See, anybody who's trying to convince you to turn away from HaMasyiach to be entangled back in the yoke of bondage that you were in before is somebody who is in unbelief. You know what I'm saying? Unbelief is what's going to get you crossed up. Hebrews 2 and 14. But we're going to make sure we answer all the good questions. That's why I put it on in the show. We had been holding this. Thank y'all for the word. We had been holding this here. We had talked about it one day briefly, but now we're going to get loose with it. 2 and 14. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, this Hebrews 2 and 14, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is the devil. So you can sit back and look at it. Through death of a lamb, he destroyed him that had power over us, which was Pharaoh. That's what he did, right? What ended up happening to Pharaoh? He got killed. That's why he say the prince of this world has been judged, right? That's what he said in John 16. Well, at that time, who was the prince of the world, the ruler of the world at that time? Pharaoh. He had been judged. He say, and deliver them through fear of death, were all their lifetime subject to bondage. When we look at when we were in Mizraim, we were always in fear of that bondage that we were in and what the people were doing to us. See, let's sit back and look at the fear of the bondage. Look at it. What is it? Exodus chapter 6. Sherelle, what are you doing? You can't find it.
Go to the other end. All the way to the...
My apologies. Exodus chapter 5 might be what I want. Make sure that's what I want. What do you think? They go to complaining.
Yeah, she can read.
I know she can read. Exodus 5 and 4. Well, 5 and 3. And they said, the Elohim of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee. Well, matter of fact, back it up to verse 2. Or verse 1. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, let my people go that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is Yahuwah that I should obey his voice to let Yasharal go? I know not Yahuwah, neither will I let Yasharal go. Y'all know, I know that just happened to you at your job. You know, that's what some of them people sit back and look at too. Man, I don't know who no Yah is. I don't know nothing about no Shabbat, no Sabbath, whatever you call it. What you is, a 7-day Adventist? What they gonna look at you? What they do say, what are you, a Jesus freak? See, now you know Jesus freak. I heard Jesus was a freak.
And the drum.
And a drunk.
And all it.
You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I mention it, and it's done. But the reason why I mention it is because you know that some of y'all run into that sometimes when you sit back and you tell these people, I need to go do this, I need to go do that. They got the same mind Pharaoh got.
Yeah, the head teacher, she looked at me kind of, she sized me up.
That's why I stopped working for Ed. That's what Ed was upset about.
Yeah, so let me get my check.
I think he was upset because I was taking other things.
Oh yeah, along with you. Along with it. That's it. He was upset, but when Glover stopped working with him, Glover said, I ain't working on Saturday no more. This nigga. He was like, boy, if I get rid of him, maybe Glover will start working with me again. And it never happened. He probably over it now though. Yeah, I know. He ain't got no choice. He ain't got no choice. He say verse 3. And they said, the Elohim of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto Yahuwah Elohim, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. And the king of Mizraim said unto them, wherefore do ye and Moses and Aaron let the people from their works get unto you your burdens? Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land now are many, and you make them rest from their burdens. See, now hold on. Come back over here to hold this here Matthew chapter 23, then we'll come right back to Galatians chapter 5 real fast. He said, you make the people rest from their burdens. We know HaMasyiach said, come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, I will give you rest, right? To make you rest from your burdens. Because my yoke is easy and my burden is light. You know what I'm saying? 23:1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do ye not after their works, for they say and do not. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and they lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Well, that's what Pharaoh was coming to do too, wasn't it? Lay heavy burden, he wasn't going to move them, was it? That's what a lot of these false prophets do. Put all this stuff on your shoulder. They're not going to move them, which goes back to what we done read in Lamentations chapter 2 in the past, that they don't seek out the things for your banishment to cause you to be brought back to Yah. Keep you in bondage, keep you in sin. Let's go back to Galatians 5:1, what we started with. Because he ain't skating by on this one here. We're going to be thorough as possible. Five and 1. He say, stand fast therefore in the freedom wherein HaMasyiach have made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. See, when you turn around, look, come over here to Colossians chapter 2, verse 22, 21, 20. When you turn around, the scribes and Pharisees were trying to have people entangled back into bondage. See, remember, Paul told them, he said, you are justified from the things in HaMasyiach that you couldn't be justified in by the law of Moses. There were things in the law you couldn't be justified by. You couldn't be justified with eternal life and the righteousness of faith by the law, because the law was not given by faith. The law was not given by promise. You understand what I'm saying? See, they missing that in their efforts to get out of doing what the man told you to do. 2 and 20, but I need to say 18. Listen what he said. Let no man beguile you of your reward. In a voluntary humility and worshiping of Malachim. Don't you realize that Eve let Hashatan beguile her out of her reward? Because you know how she worshiped this Malachim? Because she did what he said. Because you're supposed to worship Yah. Yah say stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So when you say, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, because when she seen that tree and said, it is one to make one wise. All this here, that was her stubbornness, because you being hard-headed. You were told what to do. And you decided that I'm just going to do what I want to do anyway. I don't care what you say, which makes you an idolater, which for all intents and purposes, you began to worship Satan. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that Eve is a Satanist, but in this instance, you gave your will over to him. Hold this in Romans 6 and 16 or back that up just in case somebody around here talking about, he just said Eve was a Satanist. I ain't saying Eve was no Satanist. But I know she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she lived. Say, know ye not that to whom you yield your servants to obey, his servants are ye, or to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. Come on back to Colossians. So when you turn around and look at it, didn't she not lend her member servants over to him and obeyed him? Then that means she worshiped the Malachim then, didn't it? Because she served him. Don't you realize when we just read in that Exodus 12, when he gave that instruction of what they supposed to did for the Passover, said the people bowed their head and worshiped, then went and did exactly what he told them to do. That means they worshiped Yah, they served Yah. They lended their will over to him, and they hearkened to his words. That means all of us have to look at that. Who are we actually worshiping? Are we doing what Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, our Elohim is our belly? You know what I'm saying? Who mind earthly things? Whose end is destruction. But our behavior is in the Shamahim, where Yahushua HaMasyiach come from. So you have to look at that. Who are you serving? So when he tell you to stand fast in your liberty or in your freedom and your sovereignty that come in the Mashiach and not be entangled in the yoke of bondage, that means don't go back to what you came from. When this lamb without blemish on this 14th day of the month, when he came and told y'all this is what set you free. And you niggas want to go back. You know what I'm saying? You want to go back to this. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Verse 19, and not holding the head. I'm sorry, I didn't finish the whole verse. Let no man beguile you of your reward and voluntary humility and worshiping of Malachim, intruding into those things which ye have not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind, and not holding the head, from which all the body by joints and bands have nourishment ministered and knit together with the increase of Elohim. Wherefore, if you be dead with the Mashiach from the rudiments of the world, why, as though living in the world, are you subject to ordinances? Touch not, taste not, handle not, which all perish with the using after the commandments and doctrines of men. You know, that was the doctrines of men that told them that they couldn't subdue the land, right? That was the doctrines of men that tell them we ought to go back. We had cucumbers, leeks, and melons. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the talking of men. This ain't what y'all said. Y'all said you'll overcome these people. So I'm going to give you this. I already told you, I covenanted this with your fathers. Let's go back to Numbers 11 and 4. And let's look at them cucumbers, leeks, and melons. I thought Kingston just said cucumbers, leeks, and melons. See, at the end of the day, y'all, man, a lot of these people don't want freedom and don't want you to get it and will do everything in their power for you not to get it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no freedom in disobedience. 11 and 4. It says, and the mixed multitude was among them, and we still holding Exodus 5. Then fell a lusting, and the children of Yasharal also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Mishraim freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. Do you not see how these people were entangled with this? Do you see how these people were entangled with this? That's where their heart and their mind was at. Their heart and their mind was in this place, and they were looking at the fleshly things that they had. Even though they had been circumcised, they were still entangled with it and wanted to go back. Nehemiah 5 and 1. What that face. Get out T-Lap. I didn't know if he was or he wasn't. I just was making that statement. No need for you to say nothing.
I said get up and sit down.
I just would tell them not to do it in case he went to go do it. Looking for comfort.
I got that boy in trouble again. Huh.
And stay.
Nearby what?
5 and 1. He said, there was a great cry of the people and their wives against the brethren of the Yahudim. For there was said, we, our sons and our daughters are many, therefore we take up corn for them that we may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we have mortgaged our lands, vineyards and houses, that we might buy corn because of the dearth. There were also that said, we have borrowed money for the king's tribute, and that upon our lands and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children. We bring into bondage our sons and daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought under bondage already. Neither is it in our power to redeem them, for other men have our land and vineyards. He said, I was very angry when I heard their cry in these words. Then I consulted with myself, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers, and said unto them, you exact usury every one of his brother. And I set a great assembly against them. And I said unto them, we after our ability have redeemed our brethren, the Yahudim, which were sold unto the heathen, and you will even sell your brethren? Or shall they be sold unto us? Then they held their peace, and they found nothing to answer. Also I said, it is not good that you do. Ought you not to walk in the fear of Elohim, because of the reproach of the heathen, our enemies? Do you hear what these people say it now? Now he had already just stated that we had been redeemed from servitude or bondage, right? Because you're talking about coming up out of Babylon or Medes and Persia. And what did our people turn around and do? Sell their own people right into bondage. Now these people were sitting back saying that, you see what it says. He said they had mortgaged their lands and vineyards. He said our sons, he said we take up corn for them that we may eat and live. So when they were taking up this corn that they may eat and live, for all intents and purposes, they were trying to stand on that liberty that they had, or that freedom that they had. We had just been made free. I got to swing back around here to Nehemiah chapter 1. Look at Nehemiah chapter 1, see what happened. But I also want y'all to focus on what verse 9 say. Don't y'all think y'all should walk in the fear of Yah, considering that our enemy, the heathen, seek to dishonor him and us on every cut and corner? That's why he say you ought to do these things that the word of Elohim be not blasphemed. So y'all don't sit back and realize these are your enemies. They seek to reproach you. And then you got to take around and look at it. Should you not walk in the fear of Elohim? Because we just talked about this, how Satan seeks to accuse you before the throne day and night. He seeks to reproach you, don't he? That's what he did with Job, right? He was trying to dishonor Job, right? Well, what you think he wants to sit up there and say about Troy, or say about Brittany, or Langston, or T, or Corey? Man, reproach him, dishonor. He ain't nothing but a sinner. I'm telling you, if you put him in this situation, this happened, this is what they gonna do. I'm telling you. That's how he talked. If you already looked in the book of Job, you already know that's his MO, right? Don't y'all sit back and realize the heathen that you around every day, these nations that they seek to do that to? When they sit back and watch your behavior, some of y'all done been in them situations where these people been waiting to have something to say, and you gave it to them. And you gave it to them. And you done told them what you profess in and what you say you believe, and they sitting back coming to needle and poke, because you don't really believe that. I'm waiting to reproach you. But y'all don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't believe that. You feel like if somebody make you upset, you could take off. People make you mad every day. You know what I'm saying? Somebody make you mad every day. Man, you got to learn how to govern yourself, because you're not representing just yourself. That's how y'all think. But the worst part is you'll go tell them, see, I'm a Yahudim. I'm this, I'm that. We'll see. We'll see. That's what the people be thinking. We'll see. We'll see. Look at Nehemiah 1:1 just so you can see what's going on. Matter of fact, it's chapter 2 that we need. And 1. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, which would be the first month of the year. Nisan is what is the Babylonian word for what would be Aviv. In the 20th year of Xerxes the king, that wine was before him, And I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? There is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad, when the city and the place of my father's sepulchres lie waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then the king said unto me, For what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the Elohim of Shamahim. And I said unto the king, If it please the king, and thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldst send me unto Yehuda, and unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, For how long shall thy journey be? And wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. What does that sound like to y'all? Hold on. Moreover, I said unto the king, If it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come unto Yehuda. And a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertain to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me according to the good hand of my Elohim upon me. What did that sound? Hold on. Let's make it even better. Then I came to the governors beyond the river and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. And when Sanballat the Hornite and Tobiah the servant the Ammonite heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Yasharal. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. And I rose in the night, and I had some few men with me. Neither told I any man what my Elohim had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. I seen that coming. But she jumped up. Oh. Now what that sound like to y'all? I know we just read 12 verses. What that sound like to y'all? Now, obviously, he is asking because we are in bondage. He's asking us to set us free and rebuild the place, right? But what does this sound like to y'all? Now that we done looked at it, and I'm going to have to go through it.
Right.
Shut up.
One, you can see it was in the first month, and they gave him wine. That's
First month, and he gave him wine.
That's Passover.
That would be Passover for you right there. Then he said, my countenance was sad. The king said, why are you sad? You not sick? I'm exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. He said, you're sad, but you're not sick. What's wrong with you? He said, there is nothing else but sorrow of heart, and I was so afraid. Now, we know HaMasyiach was afraid for a moment, wasn't he? He said, this is too much for me. If it be possible, let this cup pass. But he said what he told you, it wasn't nothing but sorrow of heart. Now let's see what the next thing say. He say, the city, the place of my fathers laid waste, is consumed with fire. He say, well, make a request. He say, for what does thou make request? So he prayed to the Elohim of Shamahim. What that sound like to you? Make a request. In John 17, right? Remember, right? Sorrow of heart or affliction of soul, fasting. Because this is the fast that I have chosen, that a man's voice might be heard on high. Because he is afflicted in heart. He just drunk this cup. He about to fast. He about to be afflicted, right? Let's continue on. He's saying, I said unto the king, if it please the king, and I found favor in my sight. Listen what he said, where would you send me? What?
Praise of Yah.
To the praise of Yah, to Yehuda, that I may build it. Matthew, hold this, Matthew 16. It get better every time. We get something extra. It ain't just by him. Because what? His question, easy money. That's easy. Is it easy?
Yeah.
Huh? He said,
Depending who's taking the shot, you know?
it's depending who taking on the shot. I think it's easy. Matthew 16.
Free throws are easy to some, but not easy to others.
Because they sure ain't easy for me in real life. I'm a missing. Probably about 37% from the line. Shoot like DeAndre Jordan.
It's a little
Hey,
gracious, don't you think?
huh?
It's a little gracious for you, don't you think?
What?
37.
I hit 1 out of 3.
Oh man,
No, he looked like he can't shoot a basketball.
for real.
All right.
Nigga like he shoot like this.
He can play.
2 hands from the chest.
He can play.
Play the defense, man.
He ain't give you no offensive
Nah,
firepower.
you can make some shots. I ain't gonna say you like me. I ain't no baller on the court. Man.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you saying that like you.
I ain't
you
even
shoot
most like
In the low post, I can hold my own. All right. Nigga only tell you long, but you know full well, boy, put something in your chest, boy, I'm gonna let you know I was here. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do.
Get that jump. Tumble.
Now I've been talking about my tumbo, nigga, cause you around here stretch Armstrong, nigga, here.
Get that jump. Tumble.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I done got you a couple times too, while you running your flapjack. Shoot, nigga. Expect my gangster over here. That's what you better do. I know where you live. It's Matthew 16 and 17. Or Matthew 16 and 13. Mm-hmm. When Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" They said, "Some say that thou art Yachanan their mercer, some say Elijah, others say Yirmiyahu or one of the prophets." He said unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art HaMasyiach, the Son of the living Elohim." Yahushua answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Abba which is in Shamahim. And I said unto thee, Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my house, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give thee the keys of the kingdom of Shamahim. Whatsoever thou shalt bind on the earth shall be bound in Shamahim, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on the earth shall be loosed in Shamahim." Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yahushua HaMasyiach. And from that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed and raised again the 3rd day. And that's something that we can look at him being in Jerusalem for 3 days, 2 different ways. What's them 2 ways we can look at it? What did it say about Nehemiah?
Oh, he had went there 3 days and then he arose in the night.
So we can look at it, he arose in the night, he was there for 3 days. How long did HaMasyiach preach for? 3 years. He was there for 3 years. He's sitting back saying to come build this place, right? Let's sit back and look at 1 Peter chapter 2. Because you got to remember, what was Nehemiah? He was the governor of Yehuda, wasn't he? So you already know, similitude by the ministry of the prophets. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. So still hold Nehemiah chapter 2. Exodus chapter 5. Eventually we'll get back to Galatians chapter 5. You know, we trying to deal with what he talking about, but then sometimes y'all just take off and say screw what he was talking about. We'll just get to it when we get to it. 1 Peter 2 and 5. "Ye are also lively stones, and are built up a spiritual house, a Kadesh priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMasyiach." I'll sit back and look at it. You know you ought to offer yourself as a living sacrifice. That's your reasonable service. Are the sacrifices that you offering up, are they acceptable to the Most High by HaMasyiach? Remember Psalms 50 and 5, "Gather my Kodeshim together, that they might make a covenant with me by sacrifice." See, when all these dudes sitting back talking about all these things, even when you sit back and look at, you looking in Yahushua, the 24th chapter, he say all the things that you did on the other side of the flood in Mishraim and the God you served and all that type of stuff, leave that over here. Leave that over there with you. Ain't know what he told him. Because you know why? Because we done made a covenant with Yahuwah by sacrifice. What was that sacrifice? That firstborn lamb without blemish in Exodus chapter 12, which allowed us to go in the wilderness and begin to make a covenant with the man. And those who stood fast on the covenant is those who entered into the land. Namely, we referring to Caleb and Yahushua, son of Nun, right? Because you know what he said about Caleb, right? He had a different spirit with him. He had a different spirit with him. So we gotta sit back and look at, we need to have a different spirit with us. That different spirit is the Ruach HaKodesh. Ain't nothing like it. It's not the spirit of the world. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Because you would have the spirit of truth and they would have the spirit of error. See, when he's sitting back telling you to stand fast in the freedom that you got in the HaMasyiach, it's to stand fast on the freedom that was given unto you from coming up out of Mishraim in the first place. You know what I'm talking about? Then he began to make certain promises to you, and he specifically and repeatedly told us not to go back to that place to be entangled back in that yoke of bondage. And what do we continue? Because the law back up with the man saying. If you standing on, he say, I am Yahuwah the Elohim, which redeemed thee out of the house of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. Why will we redeem? What redeemed us, right? A lamb. A lamb. A lamb. And what do them people want to go back and do? Be entangled back into that. So therefore they want to be debtors. Therefore HaMasyiach, basically that lamb that they sacrificed in Exodus chapter 12 served them no purpose. You know what I'm talking about? It served you no purpose. Because you were going to be seek to be justified by, I'm of the seed of Yasharal. I'm a Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Not your faith or why you put the blood on the doorpost in the first place. You know what I'm saying? If somebody came and told you, hey man, put some blood on your door, man, and the Malachim of death will pass over your house, man, because he coming to kill everybody. If you don't put that up there, that means you didn't believe a single solitary word he said. But when you wake up that next morning and your firstborn son is dead, you'd have believed him then. See, them people had not seen him do anything or any work. That was the righteousness of faith that we done discussed in times past for them to do that. You had to believe that to do that. See, he was showing us then we got to believe on the HaMasyiach in order to be set free. Because whoever, if anybody, I can't say this for certainty because it's not in the word, but I'm willing to wager somebody to see that Yasharal didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? You know it's one in every group. It's a bucket in every group. Verse 6, wherefore is also contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect and precious. He that believe on him shall not be confounded. You know what it means to be confounded?
Move.
Stumped. Confused. You know, when you confound somebody, you hit them with something they can't answer. You know what I'm saying? They be a little flustered. Come on back to Nehemiah chapter 2. So if we see HaMasyiach as a chief cornerstone and we lively stones, then you obviously what you build a wall with, Troy? Stones, right? What you build a temple with, right? Stones, right? Ain't that what Nehemiah said? That was his request when HaMasyiach said, make us perfect in one. Father, as we are, and not only us, but all those who believe on me through their word, let's build a house then. Hey, little potty. So now let's look at the other thing. Listen what he said. And the king said unto me, how long shall thy journey be? When wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. How many times he say, a little while I'm yet with you? He say, my time is drawn near. Ain't that what HaMasyiach said? It's always when they came to kill him, it said it wasn't his time. So that means Nehemiah had a set time that he had to do what? Go back to Xerxes, didn't he? Ain't that what he telling him if he set a time? That means he had a time period he had to go back. And what did HaMasyiach was telling them? He had a time period where he had to do what? Go back. Ain't that amazing that that's right there? How did they overlook it? Say like this here. Now you have your teacher explain you what this means. You know what I'm talking about? Say open up the book and show me what this means. He said I can't, it's sealed. He said I can't, I'm not learned. Then he said in a letter, then he say, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come into Yehuda. You know what this really setting you up for? Paul writing his epistles. Peter writing his epistles. Now we got validation for why these men even wrote letters. You see Nehemiah the governor say, why don't you set up governors beyond the river that they may convey me over till I come into Yehuda? And wasn't Paul beyond the river? He was outside the land, wasn't he? Writing letters. Conveying means to give instructions or tell somebody something. Convey some information. Give some information. And he told him to do it by letters till I come into Yehuda. So until this man returned back to come back into Jerusalem, write these letters out. Because who gave Paul the authority to write the letters? HaMasyiach did. And what is Paul's letters doing? They're conveying the faith in HaMasyiach. They're conveying about Nehemiah building the house. Right? Paul's letters are conveying about Yahushua HaMasyiach building the house. We got to have a reason why we see these letters in this book, don't we? Not just from Shaul, but from Kepha too, right? From Yochanan too, right? From Yehuda too, right? So now we got one, don't we? So that means somebody is an idiot. So that means all these letters are all they supposed to do is to point back to the conveying of Yahushua HaMasyiach and the building of the house. And spiritual concepts and points, right? Well, let's see what the next thing we look at. He say unto the letter, he say, moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come into Yehuda. And a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertain to the house, the wall of the city, that I should may enter into. And the king granted me according to the good hand of my Elohim upon me. He said, and he set captains, and he said, these people were grieved exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Yasharal. And you know the scribes and Pharisees were grieved exceedingly because HaMasyiach was coming to redeem us from death, and they hated him for it. They say we'll lose our place in nation. That's all had Sanballat and Tobiah. That's all they were worried about. But then the key thing before we move on, listen what he told him. He said when he arose in the night, he didn't tell nobody what Elohim put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. He said, neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. Ain't that funny that you think about when the HaMasyiach was up on that beast riding on that one there, on that ass, on that mule. But you see what the key thing he said? I didn't tell any man what he put in my heart to do. And we just read in Matthew chapter 16, he didn't tell any man other than his apostle what Yah had put in his heart to do. And now we're going to read Acts 10 and 38 to back that up. Ain't that something? See, these boys go sit back looking at, where the meat at? Where's the beef? That's what that old Wendy's commercial says. Some of y'all too young for that. Some of y'all know what commercial I'm talking about. Hey, listen. Well, 36. The word which Elohim sent unto the children of Yasharal, preaching by Yahushua HaMasyiach, he is master of all. That word, I say you know, which was published throughout all Yehuda, and began from Galilee, and after the immersion which Yochanan preached, how Elohim anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Ruach HaKodesh and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Elohim was with him. And ain't that something? That HaMasyiach, that Lamb without blemish came to heal and save all those who were oppressed by Pharaoh. Let's see what he say. And we are witnesses of all the things which he did, both in the land of Yahudim and in Jerusalem, and they slew and hanged him on a tree. Him Elohim raised up the third day and showed him openly. Ain't that something that Nehemiah got up on the third day at night? And he was seen openly by everybody. Say it wasn't no beast with him, just the men who was with him, right? He didn't tell nobody what Yah put in his heart to do. But them certain men didn't. Ain't that what it said? Not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Elohim, even to us who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. Ain't that something that it was only men that Nehemiah chose that were aware of what he was going to do? Wow. Come on back to Exodus chapter 5. I wonder can they explain that for us? You think they could explain Nehemiah chapter 2 for Troy? You. I don't know if he could explain that for us. Let me make sure I got what I want here. Exodus 5 and 20. 19 actually. It said, and the officers of the children of Yasharal did see that they were evil in case after it was said, you shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily task. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said to them, Yahuwah look upon you and judge, because you have made our Savior to be abhorred, to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servant, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. So it seemed like these people kind of like they bondage when this man is actually standing up to make them free. They didn't want to stand in that freedom. See, that's the kind of state that we in as a people right now. If they are, with men standing up saying that this people won't free, and they say, I want free. I want free. Most of the people gonna sit back and look at if these white folks in America come at us in a particular way, and it's starting to get a little bit hard for us, because men standing up saying we want free, they gonna look at us like, man, why you doing? They making it harder for us. Y'all making it worse for us, because you's a cop. You know what I'm saying? You like the bondage that you in. That's the same state we in as a people. We don't want to stand fast in the freedom. Excuse me, Matthew chapter 17 and about 22. We talked about this the other day. 24 is actually. I just want y'all to see what HaMasyiach say again. See, you know, like Ezra told us, we were bond men, but Yah didn't forsake us in our bondage. And when we turn around and we look at a lot of stuff, we like bondage. There's people right here, we like bondage. See, we actually don't want freedom. We don't want freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what comes with freedom? Responsibility. Responsibility. This is why he was telling them to stand fast in that freedom and not be entangled again with that yoke of bondage. Because see, they knew when they were coming up out of Mizraim, and then Yah began to give them lively oracles. Now there's a responsibility with you. They didn't want that responsibility. See, they sat back and they went to think about when we were in Mizraim, we didn't have this responsibility to carry. See, he gave you a light burden to carry, which was the responsibility of being the people of Yah and making that representation and having a law so righteous that these people would say, well, look at what type of people would have an Elohim so near unto them. We would sit back looking at, we would rather have the gods of the land. You understand what I'm saying? We would rather sit back and have these people care for us and do for us and do all these things with, because you notice they never said nothing about what they had. They always talked about what the people of Mizraim gave them. You know what I'm saying? You know, we done told y'all before, because you know we done talked about this in the past. You know, we'll say Mizraim, but y'all know about them niggas. Y'all know about Polite. You know they call themselves Kemetic Science and all that stuff, which is the real name of the land. Y'all know that. Y'all already been told that before. You know what I'm saying? But you know them Kemetic people, you know the Egyptian people, Mizraim, whatever you want to call them, they were butt lovers. They were butt lovers. And this is what we want to go back to, a nation of butt lovers. A nation of butt lovers. I ain't even finna cut no corner with it, just like they said, man, a nation of butt lovers. You know full well you can't do nothing with a race of people that love booty, who God is a necrophiliac, around here having sex with severed penises. That's what she did. Shoot, 17 and 24. That wasn't no raw meat, that was decayed meat. Around here, rigor mortis done set in. She joking and stroking. Nasty heifer. He say, when they would come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute? He saith, yes. And when he was coming to the house, Yahushua prevented him, saying, what think thou, Simon? Who do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute, of their own children or of strangers? Peter saith unto them, of strangers. Yahushua said unto them, then the children are free. Who were them people exacting tribute from? Who were they doing? We were strangers there. But at the same time, but we the sons of Yahuwah. We the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Therefore, he came to set you free. There was no need for you to be entangled back with that nonsense you were with. Come over here to Yahushua chapter 24. Then we finish up what he asked by, and we go ahead and exit stage left.
Joshua, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My Hebrew coming up, bro. Hebrew skills.
Whatever. Ain't nothing wrong.
He coming up.
He coming up. 24 and 14. Say he coming up.
We better see.
Genesis.
Oh, yeah, that's what wrong. Look at it.
Look at it.
What's up?
Talmud.
I don't know all that yet.
What he said?
Yeah, he just told you Exodus. Say now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and truth, and put away the gods which your father served on the other side of the flood in Mizraim, and serve Yahuwah. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahuwah, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whom land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. The people answered and said, Elohim forbid that we should forsake Yahuwah to serve other gods. For Yahuwah Elohim, he it is that brought us up and our fathers from the land of Mizraim, from the house of bondage, which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people whom we passed. Did not Yahushua deliver you up out of the land of bondage? Did he not work great signs in your face to preserve you in the way that you should go? See, that's the same thing when you turn around and you look at in 2 Peter chapter 2, which we read the other day. They promise you freedom, but yet you be entangled with bondage, because the people who promising you this are the servants of corruption themselves. You know what I'm saying? So you have to sit back and look at that. Where does your heart lie? Come back to Galatians chapter 5. See, people sit back and look at how can something that's made to sit back. The books say that this law is so righteous that these people will say, look at this great and understanding and wise people, and you'll be simple enough to think that this has you enslaved. When you got Paul saying, I'm a slave to HaMasyiach. The law ain't gonna have you enslaved. Sin gonna have you enslaved. That man did not say he that keep my law is a servant. He said he that commits sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abide not in the house forever, because Hagar was a bond woman. We just talked about that yesterday. She a bond woman. So you keeping Yah's law don't make you in no bondage. You being in sin got you in bondage. You bonded with death, you dummy. That's what HaMasyiach was coming to free us for. That's what all that story about Mizraim was about. Freeing you from bondage. Freeing you from oppression. You were being oppressed by death and sin. You were amongst the sinful people who laid heavy burdens upon your shoulders and wouldn't move them with one of their fingers. So he got a firstborn lamb without blemish to do it. Then turned around later and gave you another one that could sanctify you forever. You know what I'm talking about? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I don't know what the problem is. So when we look at verse 5, we've already dealt with that. You know, we know these people went back. It's a lot of other stuff that came in my mind about them going back. You know, in Deuteronomy 17, he tell you about that we'll never go back into the land of Egypt. He said, don't never go back that way. Ain't that what he said? Don't never go back that way. Matter of fact, he said your trust in Isaiah 30, Yeshayahu 30, he said your trust in Egypt shall be your shame. Your trust in Pharaoh shall be your shame. And your trust in Egypt shall be your confusion. You know what I'm talking about? See, you trust in bondage, you trust in Satan, that's going to be your shame, that's going to be your confusion. That's why he said there'll be some that wake up to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame and contempt, because you trusted in your flesh. You trusted in the prince of the power of the air. That's going to be to your shame. See, a lot of brothers are confused because they trust in the shadow of sin. That's why he told you, harden not your hearts. But today, if you will hear his voice, let your heart be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. See, those people's hearts were hardened coming up out of Mizraim because they trusted in bondage. They trusted in oppression. You know what I'm saying? See, that's when you turn around somebody telling you ain't got to keep Yahuwah's laws. You's a sinner. You trust in sin? You trust in death? Are you simply retarded? I cannot sit back and say since the day I decided that I would serve this man that I ever felt like I was in bondage to his word had me locked up. His word is keeping me from situations and circumstances that I have no desire or need to actually be. Matter of fact, I remember what CeeLo said in the song. He said, oh no, he was just talking. On one song, fighting on that soul food. He said, man, and a lot of time we end up in investing quality time in places we don't even need to be. You know what I'm talking about? And that's why a lot of people get damned, because you invest in quality time, not in places you don't even need to be, but even in people that you don't even need to deal with. You know what I'm saying? That's what's got you in bondage. You know what else got you in bondage? You invest in quality time in your lust and your flesh when that ain't even where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? When you're supposed to be serving this man in the spirit and the righteousness of the spirit, which is life, which is faith, which is obedience. Ain't no bondage in the law of Yahuwah. That's insane. That's blasphemous. But like David told his men that were with him that day, when that Benjamite came up and cursed him, he say if y'all bid him to curse, let him curse. Matter of fact, Revelation 20:20. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is Kadesh, let him be Kadesh still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. He say, I'm the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the ending, the first and the last. You understand what I'm telling you? It's been in my mind to do it, but one day we're going to look at that, especially doing it straight up out of Telahim 119, looking at the verses that's in the Aleph and then the verses that's in the Tav. We're going to get loose with that one there, gentlemen. You hear me? And you working in days now soon, man. You're going to be working days soon, man. Yeah, we're going to get loose with that real soon. We're going to sit down and look at some of that stuff real soon. Y'all permit. And then you finna get ready to go on break soon, too. But you just let me know what you go do with your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll figure all that out. You heard what he told you. If that's how you are, stay that way. That's why David told him, man, if he cursed, man, if y'all bid him to curse, let him curse. That's why HaMasyiach said, if he dirty, let him stay dirty. If he not blameless, let him stay not blameless. If you're upright, stay upright. And if you're set apart, stay set apart. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need to sit back and look at. Don't worry about somebody who filthy and you want to get him. If they filthy, let them stay that way. You know what I'm talking about? Keep rocking with that. But if you're righteous, stay that way. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of people don't, you saw what he said, still, that means continue. You know, a lot of people don't want to continue. Continuation ain't in a lot of people's heart. That ain't what a lot of people want to do. Come on back to Galatians chapter 5, because he asked about verses 5, 1 through 4. Have we, in y'all opinion, has verse 1 been satisfactorily explained? Okay. We just got to make sure if it's not satisfactory. So let's look at verse 2. He say, behold, I, Paul, say unto you that if you be circumcised, HaMasyiach shall profit you nothing. For I testify again to every man that is circumcised that he is a debtor to do the whole law. HaMasyiach is become none effect unto you, but whosoever are you are justified by the law, you are fallen from grace. For we through the Ruach wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. For in Yahushua HaMasyiach neither circumcision avail anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which work by love. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that you should not obey the truth? This persuasion come not of him that call you. A little leaving the whole lump. I have confidence in you through HaMasyiach that you will be none otherwise minded, for he that trouble you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be. Listen what else he say. He say, if I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the state ceased? I would they were even cut off which trouble you. For brethren, you have been called unto freedom. Only use not freedom for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Do you remember when we went over that? We went over this not too long ago about you've been called unto freedom, but your freedom is not. Remember we went over that, right? Very detailed too, didn't it? So we know that our freedom in the HaMasyiach is no occasion for us to lend ourselves to our fleshly desires. So if you looking to do things on the Shabbat and you trying to say you ain't got to keep that, then that means you're trying to lend yourself to a fleshly desire that you seek to want to do on that day. Whatever it is that you sit back looking at, because the works of the flesh are manifest and the works of the flesh are these. You know what I'm talking about? So you sit back and look at it. Boy, you know when you working in the flesh and not the spirit. Who you fool? HaMasyiach walked in the spirit of Yahuwah, right? He obeyed Yah's word to the T. But let's look at some of these things, right? He said, HaMasyiach is no effect of you if you're justified by the law, you fallen from grace, right? Isaiah chapter 53 and about verse 10. We know what is grace. Undeserved gift or favor, right? We know full well sitting back looking at it in Exodus chapter 12 that all them people that came out of Mizraim were not justified by the law. They were justified by the gift of that land. You know what I'm talking about? We also know in Deuteronomy 32 and about 20, he said, these are children in whom have no faith. They are Sodom's children. Matter of fact, he said this is a froward generation. My apologies. Froward means stubbornly, rebelliously contrary. That means you understand something, right? The people that came in, when you look at Caleb and Yahusha, right? Son of Nun, right? Were they justified by the law, or were they justified by the faith that they had in saying we can take this land? You understand what I'm telling you? When you turn around and you look at Moses, was he justified by the law, or was he justified in that he believed Yah? When you look at Phineas, when he executed judgment in the camp, he wasn't justified by the law. He was justified by his faith in Yah and executing judgment, which in turn got him what? Everlasting priesthood. See, when you turn around and you look at all these men were not justified with Yah by the law. They were justified by the gift that he gave them and the faith that they showed. When you turn around and you look at Abraham, he was justified because he was willing to offer Isaac, not from the law. You know what I'm talking about? He was willing to do that. When you turn around and you look at Jacob, how was he justified? His mama heard what the promise was. He never heard it. She told him, go get this right here. What did he do? Went and got it. Then he said, well, daddy gonna know that I'm not here. He said, well, put this on. And if anything be cursed, let that fall on me. Just go do that. Was he justified by the law? He had it. But his justification was his faith in Yahuwah. When you look at Joseph, he got a prophecy. He believed it. He telling them his brothers are mad about it. Was he justified by the law? Even though he was justified by the law twofold. Because Yah was with him because he was upright. When he was tempted with sin, he made a way out. Remember he said that he could make a way for the godly to escape from temptation, right? Joseph was in a situation being tempted. He could have slept with his man's wife though, but he made a way for him to escape. And then that turns back around. He say all will suffer persecution that live godly in Yahushua HaMasyiach. He ended up suffering persecution by being locked up because he chose to live godly. You know what I'm talking about? And then it ended up that because he did that, Yah exalted him because even in the face of persecution and suffering, he still trusted that Yah would deliver. You understand what I'm telling you? Was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, were they justified by the law? They were justified by their faith that they believed that Yah could deliver them from the fiery furnace, even though they got cast in there for what? Obeying Yah's law. Was Daniel justified by the law by being delivered from the lion's den? Or was he delivered from the lion's den because he believed Yah was able to do so, even though he was tossed in there for keeping the law?
Jordan.
Because the law say to pray 3 times a day, don't it? The law say pray towards Jerusalem, don't it?
Sit down.
I thought he was froze, like upright for a second. That's how it happens to you. But you understand the point of what I'm saying. It was their faith that justified them, not the law. But they still kept it. Every man that we mentioned, they still kept it. But their justification came because they believed. I think sometimes brothers sit back and they miss that. When we look at David, his justification wasn't because he kept the law, it's because he believed in you. He said, this is a man after my own heart. This is a man got my mind. This is a man who trusted me with every ounce of his being. Even in tribulation, Even in good times, he still trusts in Yahuwah. When we look at Job, at the end of the day, where did his justification come from? From his faith. Brothers miss it all the time. Isaiah 53 and 10. Y'all we'll revisit this again. I got to cut this short though. He said, yet it pleased Yah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When he shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul, and he shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. So when we come back and we look at Galatians 5 again, or is it Ephesians? Whichever one it is. Galatians chapter 5. And when he sit back and say, HaMasyiach is no effect to you. You are justified by the law. You are fallen from gift. He said, we wait for the hope of righteousness by faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the things not seen. We hope for that righteousness of the Ruach HaKodesh, which comes from faith in the HaMasyiach. He said, he that believe on me, as the scripture have said. The only way you can get it is through faith in him. I can't get that from the law. I can't get eternal life from the law. I got to get it through faith in the HaMasyiach. Through my faith in the HaMasyiach, I would keep the law by consistently living a clean life till y'all seal me with it. It's one thing that's coming to my mind. Galatians 2 and about verse 16. He say, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Yahushua HaMasyiach. Even we have believed in Yahushua HaMasyiach, that we might be justified by the faith of HaMasyiach, and not by works of the law. For by works of the law shall no flesh be justified. Well, you know, we dealt with this many moons ago. But all you got to do is sit back and look how you'll be justified. I shall raise a prophet like unto thee, and I shall put my words in his mouth. And all those that hear, he said, and those who hear him not, I will require it of them. So that means you're going to have to believe the man who I sent the same way they were supposed to believe Moses, the man who he sent. Do you not realize that everybody who went against Moses, he required it of them? Because the words that Moses spoke were not Moses's. They were Yah's. And if they would have believed, they would have put their trust in Yah. See, that's the whole key thing. Remember, he say, I humbled thee, I suffered thee to hunger. For a man to know that he don't live by bread alone, but every word that proceed out the mouth of Yahuwah doth man live. So he was telling you then, the just shall live by their faith. If you actually trusted in me and you believed in me, you wouldn't be crying that you brought us in the wilderness to kill us. It was better for us to go back to Egypt. You want to be entangled again in that yoke of bondage that you were in. You didn't want to stand fast in that freedom, because the reason why you didn't want to stand fast, because the minute it got a little ugly for you, the minute it got a little hard for you, you was ready to go back. Listen to what the next thing he say. He said, look at the key thing he say. But if while we seek to be justified by HaMasyiach, because it's the faith in the HaMasyiach justify you, right? And we ourselves also are found sinners. Whoa, what is sin, gentlemen? Transgression of the law. Is therefore HaMasyiach the minister of sin? Elohim forbid. So if you seeking to be justified by the faith in the HaMasyiach, in the faith of Yahushua, and you are found a sinner, you saying HaMasyiach came to teach you to sin. That's what you saying. How many people gonna believe that? So you telling me HaMasyiach say don't keep the Shabbat, don't keep the feast, don't keep the law. You telling me this man came to teach me to sin. I'm not bold enough to say that. That's blasphemous. You setting yourself up. You know what the law say you for having you blaspheme. Stone him. Stone him. Listen what he say. He say, for I through the law am dead to the law, that I might live under Elohim. So I through the word am dead to the law of sin. The law, by my obedience, I'm free from death, that I can live under Yah. I am crucified with the HaMasyiach. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but HaMasyiach live in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not frustrate the grace of Elohim, for if righteousness come by the law, then the HaMasyiach is dead in vain. We know that Abraham believed in Yah and he counted to him for righteousness. That righteousness did not come from the law. It came from his faith. That's all they missing. This ain't that hard. Is it that hard? Last time, what we sit back and look at. So when we look at Yahushua HaMasyiach, circumcision doesn't mean anything, nor uncircumcision, but faith which worked by love. We dealt with this a little bit with the Gibeonites, right? They faith which worked by the love that they have for y'all. When they heard that you got to love them to believe it. That saved them. What about Rahab? She was uncircumcised too, wasn't it? What about Naaman the Syrian, who got healed from leprosy? He was uncircumcised too, wasn't it? What about that widow in Zidon that Elijah went to? Ain't they uncircumcised people? How many times can we go read, wasn't Abraham uncircumcised? But he showed his faith by love though, didn't he? So you being uncircumcised in your flesh or circumcised in your flesh means absolutely nothing. Where's your love for Yah and your belief in it? You know what I'm saying? There's examples for this. They're endless, aren't they? So I hope he go ask his teacher to explain that to him. Let's sit back and look at this here, right? He said you run well, but this is the last thing I want you to look at is verse 10. I have confidence in you through HaMasyiach that while be none otherwise minded, he that trouble you shall bear his judgment, whoever he be. We know Saul troubled David, and he bared his judgment, right? We know Korah and his company troubled Moses, and they bared their judgment, right? So when he's saying, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the stake ceased. He said, if I'm sit back and just preach, what do most Hebrew Israelites preach? Circumcision, right? They say they're supposed to stand out on the corners and wake up the lost sheep that they the children of Yasharal. That's all they preach, right? Same message every week, every day. He said, but if I preach that and I'm still being persecuted, has the offense of the affliction of HaMasyiach stopped? No. Because we already looked at that when he said that serpent gonna come to make war with the remnant of our seed. See, there's another thing that I had it in my mind, right? You know, Galatians 4:16 says, am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? Ain't that what it says? Well, 2 Chronicles 20:20. We'll stop right there. Oh, no, that's over. We got an hour and 38. That's good. And I ain't getting nowhere loose like I wanted. But we got to cut and short. Maybe we'll revisit on tomorrow. On tomorrow night is Shabbat anyway. You know what I'm saying? Get loose with it in 20 and 20. Make sure that's the one I want. (24), my apologies. Second chapter, 24. 2 Chronicles 24. About verse 17. He said, now the death of Yehoiada came, the princes of Yehuda made obeisance to the king, and the king hearkened unto him, to them. They left the house of Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers and served groves and idols, and wrath came upon Yehuda and Jerusalem for their trespass. Yet he sent prophets to them to bring them again unto Yahuwah, and they testified against them, but they would not give ear. And the spirit of Elohim came upon Zechariah, the son of Yehoiada the priest, which stood above the people, and said unto them, thus saith Elohim, why transgress ye the commandments of Yahuwah that you cannot prosper? Because you have forsaken Yahuwah, he has also forsaken you. And they conspired against him and stoned him with stones at the commandment of the king in the courts of the house of Yahuwah. He became their enemy because he told them the truth. Just like HaMasyiach say, which one of you convinced me of a sin? And if I tell you the truth, why do you not believe me? Because I became your enemy. Because I told you the truth. Praise ye Yah for Yahushua HaMasyiach in the word.